You'll wish you saw this sooner. At a time when young Americans are burdened under bad debt, what you're about to realize is just how powerful debt and financing can be if you know how to use it. I just listened to Graham Stephan explain how he bought a new Tesla Model 3 for just $78 a month for the first year, and I couldn't help but want to dive further into the economics and finance of how he was able to pull that off. Plus, as new technologies emerge, I believe this example is the perfect jumping board to tell you about how old finance advice is falling by the wayside. So subscribe to the channel, take a look at this before I tell you more about it.
So how does a $40,000 car come down to a price of $29,450? Well, to start, this car is eligible for a $3,750 federal tax credit until June 30th, 2019. This means if you pay more than that in federal taxes, you will receive this entire amount back at the time you file your tax return. That money is pretty much as good as cash. California drivers are also eligible for a $2,500 electric vehicle rebate, in which the state will literally mail you a check back for $2,500 upon showing proof of purchase. The actual price of the car comes to $33,750 for a brand new Tesla Standard Range Plus with autopilot.
Now, while that federal tax credit on the new Tesla applies across the country, California itself enacted an even more attractive incentive structure for EVs, which perhaps makes Graham Stephan's example more state-specific. Right now, California is the country's highest adopter of electric vehicles, with nearly a quarter of all new cars sold being electric, and the more that the EV industry starts to stand on its feet, the federal tax credit program is being phased out, especially after 2020, which at first offered up to $7,800 as credits depending on the particular vehicle class being purchased. High adoption is also why the California Clean Vehicle Rebate Project ended in November last year, which is a significant part of why Graham was able to get the price of the Tesla so down back in 2019. But that's actually a net positive, because increasing electric vehicle adoption will bring prices down for the average consumer, especially if there's potential competition of China's EV manufacturing giant BYD able to break out in the US market. But for now, even if some of those attractive initial incentives may be phasing out for electric vehicles in a place like California, states with less adoption like Texas and Florida still benefit from federal tax credits, especially after the passing of the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022. I think apart from taking advantage of those incentives, the real reason that Graham was able to bring the total out-of-pocket cost of the car down is because he qualified for a 100% financing option for the Tesla, eliminating the need for a down payment.
Now, I had originally intended to purchase the car outright in cash, but I couldn't help but notice their offer soon after I placed my deposit. 100% financing for 72 months at a 3.75% interest rate. That's low, and at that interest rate, I'd get a better return investing my money literally anywhere else instead of buying the car in cash. So just like the car, I figured, you know what? Why not? I'm going to do it, and I applied for financing. 10 hours later, I was approved. This means that my total out-of-pocket cost to buy a brand new Tesla Model 3 was $4,437.01, which included sales tax, the license fee, and registration. That was it.
And here lies what I think is the greatest takeaway lesson from this. You'd think someone like Graham Stephan, who's a multimillionaire, would be able to put up all cash for a purchase like this instead of financing the car over a 6-year period. That lesson is the difference between good debt and bad debt. Honestly, if you listen to most financial advice on debt these days, you're going to be left confused. Someone like Dave Ramsey would tell you to stay far away and become debt-free as soon as possible, while Robert Kiyosaki will tell you that the debt is your greatest tool of leverage in personal finance. There's only one difference. If your debt is directly or indirectly productive, it is good debt. If you've gotten into the habit of stacking up and rolling over pointless credit card debt for months and years, you're getting yourself into bad debt. But for someone with more of an abundance mindset, who understands what you can put your money into to work for you, good debt in this case can free up a larger sum of capital to invest in other endeavors. For a point of reference, you can expect yearly returns from the New York Stock Exchange nearly 10% per year, or 6 to 7% if you adjust for inflation and purchasing power. That clearly outstrips the interest rate that would be paid for the financing, but only for someone that can grow the money they freed up rather than spending it for someone frivolous or letting it sit idle in a savings account. Graham Stephan's in a position to do that, but anyone realistically can if they're financially intelligent and responsible.
This means that my total cost to buy this car in the first year, including monthly payments, taxes, license, and registration, comes to $12,117 and, of course, 1 cent. However, even though I've paid that amount out of pocket, I will get back $2,500 from California's EV rebate program. I'll get back another $3,780 from the federal tax credit, which remember is all money that I get back. And that brings down my total cost of ownership in the first year to $5,867.01. But wait, there's more. It gets even better because I bought this car specifically for business use, which means the $1,438 in interest that I pay financing the car is a tax write-off. I also get to write off the $4,437 in taxes, licensing, and registration as a tax write-off. I can also depreciate the value of the car about $8,200 in the first year. All of that combined works out to be about a $14,000 tax write-off, which should save me about $4,925 in taxes. Which means that when you reduce that from the total amount and you divide that over a year, it's effectively like I'm buying a brand new Tesla Model 3 for the out-of-pocket cost of $78.39 per month.
It's important to remember here that all of those three things that Graham mentioned apply only to the first year of purchase. The Section 179, or the Internal Revenue Code, allows the tax write-off of equipment used for business as a means of spurring the expansion and reinvestment of small businesses. But that tax benefit does not carry over to the entire 6 years of vehicle financing. In the next 5 years, Graham will be paying more than $600 a month for that vehicle, which is in fact that's easy to miss in the allure of a shiny new Tesla. Remember, this is not financial advice, and let me know in the comments if leveraging capital is a good way of paying for that. As for most people, this will be a financial decision with a long-term impact.